Sima. Sima.
Hi guys,
welcome back to
let's hear it with Mollie and Jewel. So, first topic.
Hey, this is a big episode for us, man.
Go on, what is it?
Indian Matchmaking.
Yep, Netflix's Indian Matchmaking.
Yes, Sima from Mumbai.
Literally. So, matchmaking, I definitely think there's a really big misconception on the difference between matchmaking and arranged marriage, and I don't think the show itself educated viewers enough on the difference between it. But I just want to say that arranged marriage is very much you're marrying this person, whether you know them or not, whether you've spoken to them or not, whether you've met them or not, like that's that, you're marrying them, like that's an arranged marriage. And a lot of the time arranged marriage is forced. Like there's so many young girls, young boys who are forced to marry like they're like early teens and stuff like that, and like even with the old couples at the beginning of the episodes, like they all seemed like very happy and you know that they had like lasted so many years. But some of the time that's not the case. Like it can go really bad because at the end of the day it's not natural, is it? It's a forced thing and you're made to fall in love with that person because you have to. Whereas matchmaking is you have someone introduce you to someone, and then apart from that bit, everything else is very much it's your choice from there whether you want to take it further or not. And I think Auntie Sima in the show is literally the physical version of a dating app or a dating website. Like she's
the middleman.
Yeah, like she's literally the algorithm. Like she's in control of who you kind of are compatible with, like who you match in that sense. But that's not saying that some people who do go into the matchmaking process, like parents don't force them to rush. Like even though it is your choice on who you marry, sometimes you can get pressured to like quickly get married or quickly find someone, and there's that type of pressure. Like 100% there are parents out there who put their kids into the matchmaking process unwillingly, but ultimately the choice is kind of the person's on who they want to choose. I guess sometimes parents do have that kind of like influence, but ultimately it is the person's choice. So yeah, that's the difference between arranged marriage and matchmaking. They're very separate.
I feel like that's actually such a good point to raise though, because I know that I wasn't educated on that either, and I think that was something they're missing from the show. Like me and Jewel had a conversation prior and she explained to me, because I was under the impression that matchmaking and introducing was like kind of like an evolved version of an arranged marriage, when in actual fact they're two completely different things.
Yeah, like the people in the show are using the whole matchmaking thing as an option or a last resort. Like they've obviously gone out and tried to find someone on their own and not been successful, so they've gone to Sima to kind of help them along the way. Like it's not as if they're being forced into this. Like it is their own choice.
Yeah, I can't lie, I actually do. I love the idea of matchmaking and introducing, just because I think everyone should have the chance of having a love marriage. But I think if you get to that kind of point, especially with our dating scene and everything now, you see a lot of people that aren't serious, or if you're quite like an introverted person and don't have that kind of social network, then you don't get to meet the kind of people that you wish you could. Or if you thought, oh, by this time, I thought I would have been settled down and married, then it is good to have it as kind of like a backup option.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's basically what matchmaking is, and the difference between matchmaking and arranged marriage. What I will say is the whole like biodata stuff was new to me. Like my idea of matchmaking and introducing two people is that you've got a mutual person between two families or however it is, that kind of set you up on a date to meet up with each other, and like that's it. Like I didn't know that you had like a whole fact file on like who you are.
You know what, I find that so interesting, because I had a friend who told me about like the whole introducing, that kind of thing, and their family and families that they're involved with would actually use that.
A biodata.
Yeah, so they'll look into past information about like family illnesses, like illnesses that would run through, criminal conviction, divorces. And for me, I just think that's so over the top, because it's stuff like that isn't genetic. Like divorce and criminal convictions, like you can't
even
pass
like
that
illnesses,
down.
like marriage is in sickness or in health. Like I just think if you meet someone naturally, is in the sense like, you know, it's an organic meeting and like you fall in love and so on. You don't ask them, oh, do you have like diabetes running through your family and stuff like that? Like, why should it be an issue? Like, I just think that's a bit over the top. Like, at least with Sima's biodatas, it was very much like hobbies, interests, like where you're from.
But even then, I think they were so generic. Like, there was such like, oh, this like one little thing that would be so broad, and I was like family, and you're like, everyone's family oriented. Yeah, and I'm like, that's who is that person? That's everyone. Like, everyone can identify to that. But I think it is definitely something where it's like, if it wouldn't bother you in a love marriage, why is it such a big concern? Like, especially with divorce, like we saw that quite a lot through the whole series, that divorce was such a big taboo subject, but we'll obviously talk about that a lot more later.
I literally didn't think a biodata was a thing. Like I literally thought that's something that you put on like your dating app, like not like.
But the things that they were saying you would put on, like literally like you said, like the hobbies and stuff like that, it was so generic things, it doesn't even say a lot about the person.
So let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's talk about the
cast members.
So of course the first one we have to speak about, that everyone has a big opinion on. Aparna. Oh my god. So what do you think?
I mean, with her, I've always said I rated her with her values, and I don't think she should have to settle when it came to wanting a man that's on a similar kind of
ground,
success, everything like that, and similar interests. Like, I don't think there's an issue with that at all. I think the only issue I had with her is she was very stush, very looked down upon people.
Oh my god, right, do you know what sticks in my head? She was on a date, kept going, I love traveling, like I love it, blah blah blah, but she doesn't like hiking. She doesn't like
and she doesn't like to relax. I'm like, what do you go there to do?
Like,
you don't like walking. You don't like relaxing. Like, what do you stand there? Like, what actually do you do on your travel?
For me, it was when she was like, oh, so I used to live in Dubai when I was like growing up, and then the guy was like, oh yeah, I really want to go Dubai, and she made such a nasty face and was like, really? Why would you want to go there? And I'm thinking,
well, who wouldn't? It's
like,
it's Dubai.
Tourist central. Why wouldn't you go to Dubai? And she was like, that's a bit of a weird one. Like, why would you want to go there? I'm thinking, what? And then when she like compared it to Disney World, I was like, I don't know what Dubai she's been to, but it ain't like Disney World.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
But I don't know. Like, it was like she always wanted to find like like she wanted to pick on something that she didn't like.
That's the thing that confused me with her, was this whole. She obviously wanted to be a part of the process. Like, she tried for a love marriage for so long, wasn't working, dating apps and everything. Like, she obviously wanted to be a part of it. Yeah. But she just hated the whole thing. And I was like, what's...
like,
why?
She literally... She was just so difficult to please. Like, even when you could tell... Well, I don't even know if you could tell that she was happy. But when she seemed a little happier, like... It seemed like she was kind of fighting with herself. Like, did she want this or not?
I think she was under a lot of influence from her mom, though.
Oh, God.
Her mom was like a spitting image of her.
Oh, yeah, she really was. Oh, my God. When she goes... I don't want her to have 1 degree, I want 3. I'm thinking, wow, I hardly cope with one.
She said the first thing I said when they were like 5 or 6 or something, they didn't even know what I was talking about, but I want them to have 3.
Like,
I was
bloody
like,
hell. Standard-wise,
that's
her
what
standards
I mean.
were so high.
And it was the judgmentalness, that's what I just didn't like.
When she called that guy a loser, I just thought that was so rude. Like, if he wants to, you know, go with the flow in life, let him. Like, but you don't need to... be rude like that. And I just think, I don't think she was the right influence in that process, especially because she needed to go into that with an open mind. I think if you are going into matchmaking, it's either going to work or it isn't. Like, it's not always going to be perfect. Like, it is going to take a few tries and stuff. Whereas her mom was very much like, I think she was quite pushy with Sima as well. Like, she was quite rude to her. Like, when she was like, what did she say? She was like, she should know, like, you're not gonna like that, or we're not gonna, like,
they didn't trust the process either. They didn't trust her judgment. I think as well, though, it is fair to say that she was kind of portrayed as like the one you want to hate. Like, her between Nadia, there was a very much like, Nadia's the one you love and she's kind of the villain in it. But she did do an interview when she came out, and she was talking about her perception on it, and she didn't feel like she was portrayed how she actually is. But then there is that part of me that thinks, you're on a Netflix show, like, they're going to do things for entertainment purposes. But then she was saying the things that she said. You can't deny like, what comes out of your mouth.
Her face didn't lie. Like, her eye rolls when her not
attitude.
lying. Literally. So they probably made her out to be a lot worse than she is. But she must be difficult to some extent.
Yeah.
I know when I first watched it, like when I first was watching it, I was thinking, who the hell does this girl think she is? I was like, why is she even on
I'm
this?
pretty sure she was the advert for it as well. So a lot of people were drawn to it because of her kind of attitude for it. And I was like, who is this girl that's
like,
doing
I know,
it?
like, I was watching the first couple of episodes with my grandparents, and they were like, is this what girls are like in this generation? I'm thinking, like, I'm picky, but she was next level.
The thing is, though, I still don't think that her values are invalid, though.
Yeah, like, I think with her age, with her being like in her late 30s and being on your own for that long, your mind is very set, and you're set in your ways, aren't you? Like, you know what you want, and sometimes, depending on the type of person you are and the type of person she was, it was like she was very stubborn. Like, she didn't want to change or kind of like compromise and see that she isn't gonna get her perfect match. Like, all the things that she had on her checklist weren't going to be ticked. But yeah, that was Aparna. And we'll go talk about Nadia. We mentioned her a little bit earlier, but Nadia was literally the opposite of well, she was made out to be the opposite of Aparna. Like, she was very likable and she was very relatable. Like, I feel like every girl could relate to her, in the sense that they showed her being like let down by someone, and I think so many girls can resonate with that's why they felt so like drawn to her.
She was definitely the one that portrayed like the sweetheart type girl.
Yeah, and I think, you know why that was as well? Because she had like her heart semi-broken. I think if that hadn't happened, like, she wouldn't have been as loved. But kind of.
What was his name that she went on that date with? Them?
I don't know, but I thought they looked like frigging brother and sister.
Oh my god, so many people told me that they actually look so similar. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, I actually see it. But he did post on his Instagram, so the whole kind of situation with them two was that, obviously, as we saw on the show, that he ghosted her, didn't show up for the meeting with the friends, did it a couple of times, it just ended, he wasn't serious. But then he did write on his Instagram post, uploaded it after it was aired. I was explaining to people that it was the other way around. She ghosted him. That whole friend situation when they were meeting up didn't actually happen. And,
really?
Yeah, there was all that kind of thing. And I think the thing with these kind of Netflix shows, you do have to take with a pinch of salt, because they will manipulate it, stage it. They'll make it more. It's entertaining at the end of the day.
That's bad, that is.
Yeah.
That's like adding to the fire a bit more, like making sure people really like Nadia.
You know what, as well, with her, she just disappeared towards the end of the show. Like,
I think they did that with so many. Like, they really just cut off the, like, I want to know more. They opened up
a chapter. I thought they were going to carry on these cast members all the way
but
through,
but they were
to
adding
the
more
end.
people.
Adding more people in, and then they just didn't show the others. And I was like, well, what's happened to her now? Like, where has she gone?
So that's Nadia, really. I don't really have much else to say about
same.
her. Okay, now we're going to go into the one that I really didn't like.
I know who you're going to say.
Who?
I ain't going to say it. I can't say it.
Brotherman, or Brotherman, Pradman, let's just call him Prad.
He was the definition of a typical egotistical Indian boy.
I think, yeah, because I think it was of
himself.
And I'm sorry, but I don't even think he's good looking. Like, I don't know what he's seen. Do you know what? When I seen all the pictures of himself in his wardrobe, I was like, right, this boy actually is too in love with himself. Like, he's so in love with himself, he can't love anyone else. Like, I honestly do not see why he was on the show. Like, yeah, he was literally the portrayal of those typical rich Indian boys who love themselves. Like, do I think he was needed to be on the show? Definitely not. There was literally no point. And when he literally with the girls that Sima was like setting him up with, it was only until it was a model that he was like, let me see how this goes. Like, who do you think you are?
You could tell though that he wasn't going to progress in the show because he just was going to turn anyone down. I think he just wants to be around girls.
I'm pretty sure he said something like, I've turned 150 girls down.
And I'm like, I feel like he's doing that for an ego boost. I think it makes him feel good being able to, I don't even
But he ain't even all that. Like, honestly.
The only thing I rated for was the cooking. Like, he did a lot of that. I actually loved that. He was very creative.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all though. No. I really didn't. Like, I just didn't like him.
I think his sister was good though, because his sister was trying to be like, fix up.
Yeah, she was. But him, I don't really see. I just think he's too in love with himself, and it's gonna take. I don't even know what kind of girl's gonna want to go with him.
I don't even know what happened with him and that model though, because I actually thought they got along. Like,
I thought she was way too good for him.
Yeah, like, definitely. But why did he turn her down?
He's definitely more of like a materialistic type of guy, where she was very down to earth. Like, I just don't think compatibility wise they wouldn't have
been together.
Yeah. And I just think she was way too good for him.
Same.
But yeah, that's Brother Man. Don't like him.
Moving on.
And then Vyasa, oh my god, I love him. Like, I actually love him. Like, I wish I was attracted to that before, because honestly I just feel like he deserves someone so much.
He's such a sweetheart, and you can tell. The thing is though, when I watch the show, I feel like I can visibly see the type of girl that he should be with. Someone that likes those dragon and dungeon games.
I don't even think someone who likes that, but someone who's just very like laid back.
I can't lie, I didn't like the first girl who was paired up with. I didn't think they suited. I think the maturity, I feel like she kind of looked down on him a little bit. There was a little bit of they obviously showed them they didn't get along and everything like that. I really thought he was going to get along with the other girl. I actually did quite like them together.
They did suit well, but then again they didn't really end that off. Like, we don't know what happened with them two.
And the massive thing with him, what he revealed about his dad.
Do you know what, even in like a love relationship or like this introduction thing, like with his story, I think that is difficult to tell, whether that even be in like in a Western society or in the Indian culture and everything. That is still like quite like a taboo. Like,
it's sad because it's not even what he did, you know what I mean? Like, he's got to live with his own father's actions, and he even said that,
even Sima said that though. She was like, he shouldn't have to.
She was actually really good in that respect. Like, she was like, it's not his doing. And I think he was even explaining like this has obviously been an issue with girls in his past, because he was saying that like, when I tell them if they don't want to stay with me, then fair enough to them. And it's like, but he shouldn't have to deal with that.
He's so
such a
cute.
sweetheart.
Like, I honestly think you need someone like that in your life. Like, and
like, how he is with the children, like, I just love that. Like, the kids in the class, he was a counselor. I was like, oh my god,
he definitely suits that role.
But
I loved him. I really do hope that he does find someone.
He said as well, so I don't think anyone even mentions why they fizzled out. Like, even when I tried to research it afterwards, I couldn't find a real reason for why them two ended. I think when it ended, it was him opening up to her and telling her, but we didn't really see her response to it either. But he did an article, and he was saying that he got so many people like messaging him on Twitter being like, are you still single, can I stay with someone? So I think he is definitely going to be able to find someone.
Do you know what, when he first came on and he was like, I've only ever been with one Indian girl before, like, other than that I've kind of been with like white girls. I see that, like, I can see that. So I personally can see him fitting better with a white girl than an Indian girl.
I think the main point for him was he wanted someone that appreciated the Indian culture, and I think he was missing.
But you can get white girls like that. I've got one right next to me.
I think, but I think there is a lot of white girls that are accepted into that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know, he'll definitely find someone.
He was another, I think, favourite, because it is that kind of dynamic where they go through something that makes you warm to them even more. Like with Nadia, she went through that whole thing.
So, love Yasser. He was definitely my favourite.
Oh.
What we're on about, bloody hell.
Oh, yeah.
So, Akshay.
Oh, there's just a lot to say on this, but not even about him, about Preeti. Like, come
Who
on.
the hell's Preeti?
That's his mum, innit?
Is that her name?
Yeah. Wait, let me search it now, because I'm scared.
So Akshay, man, like
Akshay
I feel really bad for him. Like his mom
is my mother-in-law a nightmare.
She's like a monster-in-law.
I couldn't deal with her.
She was so controlling. Like, and this is where I think Sima was bad. As someone who is, you know, that's her job, matchmaking, she should know whether
the guy's ready or not.
Yeah, whether the person is ready or not. He clearly wasn't. He was literally doing it for the sake of his mom.
He didn't even meet up with Sima until later on. They did a couple of meetings by themselves, the mom and Sima.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even there. And it's like, that shows how
she was just too much for her to say, you're 25 now, like you need to like get cracking. I'm sorry, 25 is so young.
And
like
to get married as well. I think engagement or all that kind of stuff maybe, but married, you have to be married by 25. The
thing is, personally, I think you should know someone for a good year before you even settle to get married. Like,
exactly.
If you're in like your late 30s, hitting 40s, then okay, I understand. Like maybe you want to like speed it up a little bit quicker. But he's 25.
But do you know what is for her? She was so planning. Like the mum planned.
She was like, you're getting married in October, November. Mate, you didn't even find
like,
a girl yet.
She wanted them to get married by this point, so her other brother the next year could then have a baby.
Like, who the hell plans like that?
It was too planned. It's like,
let them plan for themselves. Like literally, this is their life. Like you don't be planning things. You plan things like that for your own life, not for other people.
Too much pressure on, and by saying you were causing me all these health problems.
Oh,
actually, look at my blood pressure from you. You made it
so
high.
friggin' manipulative.
Get a baby. Get
a baby.
Get married. Come on, find a girl. Like, look at your son. Is he even ready?
He's
like,
clearly not ready, but I feel like she did highlight, like she did like represent a lot of parents. I can see a lot of parents in India and a lot of parents here mindset, like really kind of pushing, like you were saying to me earlier, like I know, like I haven't felt this myself, but like I know some girls who get told by their parents, right, you're in school now, focus on your education. Right, you've done school now, focus on uni. Right, you've got your degree now, get your job. Got your job when you're going to get married. Like
a very fine line of no relationship to suddenly you need a man right now.
Yeah, like you've told me this whole time not to focus on boys and to focus on education. Now I've done it, you want me to get married. Like
it really doesn't work like that
and
anymore.
I feel like she's one of them. Like she's definitely one of them. Like he was in London. I'm pretty sure like he must have had a girl here. Like he must have.
Yeah.
And
or a guy.
Get either or. Who cares? But like, I definitely think. See, I'm a bit unsure with him. Like he did seem very like introverted, like quite shy, didn't know what to say. But I don't know whether that was just because of his mom. Like,
can we talk about? There would be shots with him on the phone to that girl that he really hit off with on that date. And they were just so like, it would be him in bed, like just sitting there, and it was just so like, this is so awkward. They were like, do you like dogs? Yeah, I think they're loyal. Yeah, like it was just so awkward.
That freaking first time they met. Oh my god, that was so awkward. Like
that
so
literally
awkward.
made me want to cry.
See, this is why I really don't agree with parents coming on a first date. Like I think with first dates, it literally should just be the boy and the girl. The parents being there, I think it adds so much more pressure to both of the kids and the parents as well. Like, imagine me going on a date with Akshay and his mom being there. I'd feel bloody shook. Like there'd be just so much pressure. And I think first impressions really count. And I also think as well that people act differently in front of their parents. And I think imagine like going on a date with him afterwards and him being a completely different person, but it could be worse than what he is in front of his parents, or better, like vice versa.
I feel like I agree, but then for me personally, if I was in the process and if I hadn't met them or spoke to them beforehand, like we hadn't been messaging or anything like that, I would actually want someone there with me, because I just find first dates so awkward, like so uncomfortable. And if I don't know beforehand if we're even going to get along, I couldn't do that. But I like the way that Vyasa did it on his date with the second girl, where his family were there. They were having like a quick introduction, seeing if you get along with the family, that kind of thing, because I do think that's important. And then afterwards they went for lunch after, and I think that's the kind of way that I would actually want to do it.
Yeah, but imagine like it didn't work out with the person and then you'd already met their family, like...
I don't think it's that deep at that point, because you haven't built a relationship with them yet, like you've just met them.
I guess so, but I think, imagine you're sitting there and you're really like vibing with the guy, like you really like him, but your parents don't, or they really like him and you don't, and then there's like, well, who do I please, like myself or them? I think it's just, it's so much more pressure. And if things go well from like the first, second, third date, then maybe the fourth date, that's when parents should be present, especially if both of your like goals are to get married like together. But I don't know, I just think having parents is a sticky one, like the way that her parents, like they had like that little
but then I would want to know beforehand, would I even get on with his family?
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think at that point, even though it's the first date, there isn't actually a lot of pressure, in the sense that this is definitely going to go forward, this is definitely the person I'm going to be with. There's kind of two ways to look at it, and I think it depends. I can understand if your parents were they would put pressure on you to like, oh, I really liked him, go with him, or I didn't like him, you can't speak to him again. Like if you have quite open-minded parents, I think it could actually be calm. Like I would prefer just the company for the awkwardness.
I just don't think I could go on a date with my dad being there. Like, honestly, I really just... I feel like he'd be more nervous than me. But, I don't know. I just think... Because... What if the parents clash as well? Like, it's just... There's just too much.
I feel like that would happen later in the line then anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
But then that's the kind of difference between the introducing and the love marriage. Because with the love marriage, you've got to be accepting for whatever I would want anyway. And
I just feel like on the date with Akshay and the girl, like it was literally just the parents speaking. I feel like Akshay hardly spoke, and neither did the girl, because the parents were there. Like it's pretty much the parents having conversations. So I don't know. Like even with the mom and dad,
she got all defensive.
It was no.
Akshay loves me.
Akshay's still a little baby.
Yeah.
If Akshay's still a little baby,
why
are you
forcing
pushing
him
him
to get married?
Like literally. She needs to calm down. Like she gives me like, I would literally do an arranged marriage for him vibes. Like it was very much like
I was surprised that she was actually open to this version.
But I really don't think she did the process very well, because she was like, you need to choose someone, you need to, like, this is meant to be his choice, like whether
Isn't it as well with the introduction one, it's not even to get married ASAP, it's to meet someone and get to know them, build together, compared to an arranged marriage, which is
and then
more so
literally within how many weeks they were engaged. Like I'm not. By the way, guys, they didn't even last. Like they did not last.
I want to know what it was. So he released a statement and he said they found out something about her or her family that they didn't disclose to them, and they couldn't deal with it, so they called it off. I'm thinking, what would it have been? Because how would the mom allow that? She was so close to having what she wanted,
literally. And that's what I mean. Why are you so picky? Like, if you want him to get married, let him get married to anyone.
The thing that freaked me out is that she was sitting there talking about this daughter-in-law that doesn't even exist yet, and she'll be like, she's gonna love all the presents I got her. I was like,
how do you know her? Like, literally, she probably don't even like gold. Like, that would be her worst nightmare. Oh shit, she doesn't even like the gold.
That was just really weird for me.
She was a bad vibe. I think she was the villain. She was the villain of the freaking show.
I could not. If that was my mother, this is why I'd want to meet them beforehand. Like, who am I getting involved with in that family?
Yeah. Well, don't know about that. Third or fourth day, not the first one. But yeah, I do feel sorry for Akshay. I just think if you've got a mum like that, it's very suffocating. Like, she really just needs to let go and let him live. Like, stop delaying what's going on in Akshay is not delaying the other brother's life. Like, they can have a baby when they frigging want to have a baby. Like, let them do their life. Let Akshay do his.
If he's not ready, and because the whole reason I think was because they wanted a year to celebrate it. But I think if they're let them do it now and then let him have a couple of years later to get ready.
And he could probably find his own girl in his own time. Like, this is putting so much more pressure on him in order to satisfy his mom and give her the perfect daughter-in-law, like the daughter-in-law of her dreams rather than the girl of his dreams. But I don't know, with Akshay, he definitely wasn't ready. Right, so next person is Rupam, so the Sikh girl. So I haven't really got much of an opinion on her. She
wasn't aired that much, was she?
I think the reason they put her on was to just kind of highlight, I think, divorce quite a bit, like how...
And someone that had a kid as well.
Yeah, because like Sima was saying, like, it's going to be hard for me to set you up with people because you're divorced and because you have a child. Yeah. And that is still an issue. Like, even here, like, it's definitely still an issue. Like, being divorced and having kids from a past marriage is still a taboo. Like, you still wouldn't think that unless you've gone through it yourself, like, let's say 2 divorcees with kids getting together, then yeah, maybe it's a bit more acceptable. But if, like, let's say for instance a girl was to marry a guy who's already been married and has kids, it would be like, do you want to get yourself involved in that? Like, so but another thing I want to mention, so when Sima did have the biodatas of this guy who had been previously divorced and had a kid with an American girl, the dad had such an opinion on it, that why, like, he was with because they were very, like, you know, religious and all of that, and like he didn't really let her have a chance to kind of choose whether or not.
But I would think they would be the most compatible.
Yeah, like, literally.
It wasn't the issue. Was it the issue with the divorce, or was it the American guy that he had the issue
I think
with?
no, it was that he'd been with an American woman.
And what?
And then I was like, okay, fair enough. That, like, that's how he feels. Then to find out her sister's with a black man, like,
oh my god, I was like, you're actually
what's the issue then? Like, literally,
like white people.
Maybe, I don't know, but that's pretty. I think Rupam, her presence in the show was literally there just to kind of highlight the issues and the stigmas of those who are trying to, like, remarry after divorce and kids and stuff.
I think the only issue with that is that it highlighted it, but it didn't show the kind of modern way about it. Like, Sima was very much like, like, it highlights it, like, he had divorces, like, as a major stigma, but Sima wasn't like, but
there aren't going to be that many options.
She shut it down, and it's like, that is like a small part of how a lot of people.
But it was honest though. She was being honest, like.
But then I do think a lot more people are accepting of it.
I don't think they are.
I feel like they are. But maybe the younger generation, because how old was she?
I think she was in her 30s. I think Sima was just being quite honest about it. It's sad, but it's the truth. Like, in that situation, it is probably more difficult in order to find her, like, a compatible suitor. Right, and then the last one is Ankita. I
actually quite liked her. I think there was a bit of a vibe about her that people didn't really like, but I really liked her. I think she was, like, a very modern girl, had her own business going, had her own commitments, that kind of thing. And I think she was the one that faced a lot of scrutiny, colorism.
Can we just talk about how rude they were to her? Like, saying that she's not photogenic and all these things. Like, who are you to say that? Like, it's so subjective to you. Like, you.
The thing that I had an issue with, that I actually didn't get at that point, was it wasn't until me and you, like, talked about it earlier. I didn't know. So when they say, oh, like, let's compare Nadia and her. Let's say Nadia's gonna have a lot of options. She's this, she's that. She's very
But Nadia
pretty.
was dark skin as well.
Yeah, but they would say, that's what I don't understand. What was the difference?
I don't know.
Is it the photogenic? Like, is that the main thing? Was it because she had her own business? I don't really know. That was kind of like a weird.
It was like they were kind of, like, patronised by her, or threatened by her, like her, because she was very secure. She knew what she wanted, and they were kind of, like, downplaying that and trying to make her think that she didn't know what she wanted, or that she wasn't ready.
They put her to all these people. Oh my god, let's talk about what's her name, Geeta. I did not. Everyone thought when they sat down, when they had Sima auntie and her sitting down, and they were comparing them, and I was like, Sima's more to do with the family. She's more traditional. Geeta is more like modern, like she's more with the people. I was gassed to see what she was going to be like. They sat her down and I was shocked. I did not like her vibe at all. She was literally like, you need to, what was she even saying?
She's like, you need to compromise, like you need to...
She was like, as the girls need to compromise more. If the boys live in a different country, you need to move over to that country, like, be with him, drop all your business, everything you've been doing. And we was rating her for showing her business on there. We're like, you know what, girls, get in the bag, show off her business.
The thing is, both Aparna and Ankita are like very progressive girls, like especially Ankita, because she's in India, like very business minded, very independent, like she knows what she wants, and even her family said that, like her family said that she's rebellious for it, and I just think that's so bad.
I think that was really interesting to the dynamic, because that was literally traditional versus modern, and they were both trying to understand each other. Like her family were very traditional, but you could see they were trying to understand where she was coming from, but it was like she's very rebellious. She's very different. It's not
rebellious, like she's the definition of like
a modern woman at this time.
And I don't know, I just really didn't like the way that they were towards her. I think they were very comforting to all the other girls. Like even with Aparna, look how fussy she was. Yeah. But still, Sima was really trying with her. I
thought she was the one that was most clued on, most self-aware, knew herself, and she was the one getting relationship advice, counselling, all that. And I was thinking,
and I didn't think she needed it.
The point that I was going to make earlier was when let's for example talk about with Nadia, like she would be given all these options, but when it came to her, I didn't realize it was Sima that was like the one who decides how many options they get.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, but she did say that I want them to choose just one person, because then they kind of get confused on who to choose, which I understand.
No, but like in terms of she was particular and how many people she would show of Ankita because of the darkness and all that stuff.
Wow,
I didn't know that. I just thought that she would hand it out to a lot of people and a lot of people wouldn't accept it. Not that Sima auntie herself would decide, I'm not going to give it to all these people because of how she looks.
That's really bad. I don't think she was given a fair shot.
No, I think the thing that I didn't like was that divorce thing. So fair enough to the girl for not knowing, not being made aware of firstly about the divorce, that you want to know their past history. Yeah. On the day, I think the fact that he didn't bring it up, the thing for me that I can maybe understand if he didn't bring it up is maybe he thought she already knew that and it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah. But you said that you think maybe he should have brought it up.
Yeah, he should have, because he was talking about past relationships. He maybe should have mentioned it.
But I think if you get along with the guy, fair enough, you find out the divorce thing. Why is that such a big deal if you get along with him?
Yeah, because she fancied him.
That was his past life. You got along. You found it out now. Okay, situation with him, situation with the matchmakers, but you still got along. Why not pursue it? That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah, wow.
Especially for how modern her brain was thinking. I was thinking, what's the issue with the divorce?
Yeah,
and that just I just don't. I think
the way the process that she was put in with having to speak to both Sima and Geeta, like I literally think that was such a bad experience for her that she was like, forget this, and I think she'll probably just want to go out and find someone on her own accord. Like I just don't think the way that they were with her.
She was a beautiful girl as well. I really didn't like the way she was kind of scrutinised. I didn't agree with that at all.
And it's saying that she's not photogenic, like that. Did she say something that she had to like lose some weight?
Yeah, there was like, you need to lose a few pounds if you want to do this and all
like,
this kind of thing.
It's just so bad.
Let the girl be. Like this is when it shows they run so much on looks rather than actual like her mentality. Everything was beautiful. I love that mentality and the way she was kind of just focused on she looks like that, no one's gonna want to take her seriously. That was a bit of a joke.
So that kind of ties in with what we're going to talk about next, which is all about appearance and status and all of that, because I just think that was literally so reinforced throughout the whole of the series.
That was the main focus, honestly.
Yeah, literally, not even on personality traits or anything in terms of that. It was, okay, she's fair, she's pretty, she comes from a good family. She comes with I've got a lot of suitors. She could have a lot of suitors or something like that. Yeah. Whereas, like Brotherman, for instance, she was like, he's fair, he's handsome, you know, he's a jeweler, he comes from a very like wealthy background, good family, blah blah blah. But look at his personality. Who would want to settle down with that? Like, I think that was such like a significant part of the show, being fair and coming from
something that I think was another kind of outdated view that I think a lot of people that we got from the people commented back, like the feedback we got from people, was the way it kind of perpetuates the caste system. That was a major thing. Like,
because like majority of all of these people come from very wealthy backgrounds.
Like I think it was in the first episode, in the first like couple of minutes of it, Sima was narrating and they'll talk about the bio day and everything like that. And the first things that they note at the top were what their caste is, their height, and their nationality, that kind of thing. And it's like, I don't even think, do you think that's still a big thing now, caste system? I think it's definitely outdated.
It's outdated. I think in our generation, it's not, I don't think it's that much of an issue when it comes to like marriage and things like that. Like, I do think, you know, it's evolving, but I do still think like you get those odd ones who are like, yeah, I'm jot, like you know, like that. But in terms of like marriage and all of that, I don't think it's that much of an issue. I've actually known a couple of my friends where it's been an issue. But still,
yeah,
I can see it definitely still being an issue. Like, it's still a taboo, like 100%.
But it is a very outdated system.
And I really do think it depends on your parents and the family you come from. Like, some families are obviously still very traditional and think you know that you know, could be disappointed or not even accepting of the fact that you're with someone from a lower caste or a different caste or whatever. But
there's something though, do you think it's something that should be completely eradicated, like shouldn't even exist anymore?
100%. But I just think it's something that would never be eradicated. Like,
especially if you're at the high caste. Yeah. Why would they want it? Yeah. Like, because they are so proud. And I think
again, like we were saying earlier, when it comes to love marriage, you don't think of these things. Whereas,
so why do they care so much in introduction? That's something that I can't wrap my head around.
I don't know, but it's more like I said, like, it's more of a serious thing where you are literally trying to find the perfect suitor for you, and that would be someone who comes from a similar background, who, you know, in terms of appearance wise, like physical appearance. I just think this whole fair skin obsession needs to really just stop. Like, the way that they treated Ankita for being, you know, not photogenic and, you know, being of a darker skin, I just thought that was so horrible
as well. I really hated seeing it judged.
But
like
what
that.
I didn't understand is okay, Ankita was darker skinned, but so was Nadia, and she didn't mention anything about that. She was like, oh, Nadia's pretty, like all of this, like it was so focused on looks. But I'm not gonna lie, that's not even something new. That's literally the society we live in. Like, everyone in Western culture, Eastern culture, like that's literally the world we live in. Looks are so like prevalent, and that's the truth of it. But with the whole fair skin thing, I just think that's just stupid. Like, you've got the prettiest girls who are dark skinned, and like oh man, like this can be a different topic, but like, I recently did a photo shoot and I was called out for being quite dark, and I don't think I'm that dark. Like,
she literally captioned it in the
picture. She captioned it like this dusky model, and
for why even have to make
and
that
literally
thing?
Dusky me is just a nicer word for saying dark, and I just think, why is this still
it's just
important?
labels literally, and it's so outdated and it's so ridiculous to keep hearing it. I can't even understand it.
Like, oh my god, don't even get me started. Like,
you can't define beauty by the skin color. You actually cannot do that.
But they were doing it, like, literally, oh, she, you know, she's lighter skin, she's fairer skin, like blah blah blah, so she's gonna have so whereas ridiculous. She's, you know, she's not that photogenic, like she needs to lose a little bit of weight. Like, why are you so fixated on image?
I'm glad though that our generations are kind of starting to get that kind of mentality out. Like, it's still about...
Yeah, the mentality of that bare skin
isn't getting better.
Yeah, 100%. But image, I still think that's definitely an issue that is because of social media and everything else.
I feel like we need to do a whole podcast on that. We've got so many topics we're going to talk about.
But yeah, I don't agree with how that was the most significant quality to have, and then again
significant enough that people will be turned off by it.
Yeah,
if you want. What is considered dark?
Exactly. It is so subjective. So for whatever Sima thought was dark and unattractive, I'm pretty sure Nadia. Oh my God, Nadia's man, the first man that she went on a date with, he was dark.
Yeah.
She didn't have an issue setting Nadia up with him.
It's the girl. It's not even the boy. Sometimes it's literally the girl.
Oh, and Vyasa, she never said it. Well, she did talk about Vyasa's image a little bit.
She was like, he's got such a kind heart.
Yeah,
like, he's such a gentleman. That kind
but
of
that
thing.
should be what she says about everyone, not just Vyasa, because it's Vyasa. Like,
if she was trying to get what's her name, Ankita, to a guy, she wouldn't be saying, oh, but she's got such a gentle soul, she's got all these businesses.
Yeah, like she didn't say anything.
She wouldn't
like
even
that.
show them the picture of her.
No, that's so rude. Like, I didn't agree with that at all. But then again, like I said before, it's just the brutal truth of it, and I do think the show highlighted that this is still an issue. Like, it's still a remaining issue.
And do you know what another issue was the way they want a submissive girl. So the one thing that I did enjoy watching was when you'll see the older generations come on and talk about, because I just love I honestly, anything anyone's saying, they're all happy and talking their relationship, like, I just love it. But you could tell that, like, a few of them were mentioning how, like, our generation of women are so much more submissive. No, they want a more submissive girl, but our generation actually isn't even like that anymore. And they can see the kind of contrast that women are wanting more things from a guy.
They've got their own opinion, like they've got their own preferences,
and the women are marrying later because they're focusing on their careers and all that kind of thing. Then you've got these men that want these submissive girls. Where they at? They don't exist anymore. They're getting filtered out because girls are getting so strong and independent.
Yeah, Geeta obviously didn't like that. Like,
oh my God, I kept ranting to Jewel about her because
she's not progressive at all. Like, she's
for someone that labelled herself.
It's like very patriarchal, very misogynistic type of
the women
person.
Need to settle for less.
Yeah.
The guys get the ultimate decision on everything.
Like, a woman has to compromise, and that's not the case.
Like, that really isn't. Yeah, she wasn't saying that I'm like a woman, like I deserve this and this and this. She was like,
she just being
She was like the feminist. Like, honestly, I really warmed to her.
I really do not understand why they had such an issue with her, but not with Aparna, because Aparna was similar in the sense that she was very, driven, like
wanted the man with the same kind of status as her.
She knew what she wanted, and so
there's nothing wrong with that, because you think guys would have so many preferences. They want this fair skinned girl all the time, everything like that. Let a girl have her own preference, and I don't think it's bad for her wanting someone on an equal kind of level of her. Her preferences, I don't see an issue with at all.
I just think the terminology used in terms of image and status, it doesn't need to be necessary, but it was necessary in the sense that it highlighted the issue that this is still an ongoing thing. Like, you need to really move past that. So moving forward, we did want to mention astrology, face reading, old school mentality, and how kind of cultural views can be so dictating. I think this is like come from like centuries ago, like the whole reading the stars and having your stars aligned and things like that. Like, it's definitely a cultural thing. Like we've seen, like, in with Aparna, like they were doing it in America, they were doing it in India. Like, it's still embedded in the culture, and I think more so in the elder generation, like in Sima's generation. And personally, I don't agree with any of that. I just don't think you can determine your relationship on astrology. Like, I just think in the culture we're very dependent on these things like scriptures and like all this, like all the stars lining and stuff like that. I think you're just so dependent on it when you don't need to be, when I literally think it's just a bunch of hocus pocus. Like, I really don't think it's necessary. Like, yes, I understand that certain personality traits can clash and some personality traits are better suited, but do I think you need to literally be so like, oh God, like our star signs don't match, we can't be together. Like, no, like it's really never that deep. Like, and I know that some people would go to the extent where they're like, you need to get married this year, because next year is going to be a bad year for you. And I just think, make it make sense to me. Like, I really don't understand.
I think to dictate your life and your relationships on it, I think is a bit of a naive step. For like with astrology, I do think it's something that is very interesting. Like, I've done my whole birth chart where they take down your date of birth and time you were born, and that's where the stars were. It gives you all these information. I find it really interesting to see what it kind of says about you and all that kind of thing. But I do think it's something that you shouldn't let it dictate your real life and your relationships and that kind of thing. But you know what? I think they're so broad, everyone resonates with it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's something like, I think it was Darren Brown, he did like a whole segment on this show where he literally had everyone sit down in the audience, and he gave them all like a piece of paper in like an envelope, I think, and it was designated to everyone that was sitting down, and they read it and they were like, this is who you are. Like, I'm this amazing guy who can read your mind, know exactly who you are. They read it and they were like, oh my God, I agree with it so much. This is me. They went to a room later, read it all out, and it said the exact same thing for everyone.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
So
it's just
broad. We had a conversation with Jewel's mum, and I think it was your mum that made such a good point. Like, Jewel's got two brothers that are twins, and it's like, so obviously they're going to be born the same day, the same kind of time. So is their birth chart, everything they're going to have happen to both of them at the same time?
So my mum's got that done for us.
Yeah.
And my brother's ones turned out exactly the same.
And it's like, but are they going to live the same life?
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. I just don't agree in it.
The thing is, though, they proved wrong throughout it, because they said that Apana was meant to have met someone on her
June something.
She didn't do it. Someone else was meant to have met someone. I think Akshay and that girl's engaged to was meant to have aligned, and they didn't. Like, there's so many faults in it.
I just think Sima likes to go and see them to kind of like back up her kind of. Yeah. I think it's a way for her to do her research and just. Yeah. I don't know, like for her to feel validated, like her choices to feel validated. If you're going on something that's like a tradition within the culture, so people are going to feed into it, and I think there is that kind of issue of people taking advantage of people that are probably 100%. And people who are going to them are people who are vulnerable.
That's what literally they're preying on, vulnerable people that just want to find love, just want to find when this is going to happen. They get their face red, and suddenly they know they're going to get married in this time. It does, in a sense, it's harmless because it eases anxiety and stuff like that, but then people are paying money for this. There's like, I think it's these expensive stones or rocks that you're meant to carry with you all the time.
Yeah, like people will say, okay, you like with a partner, they're like, she needs to wear a sapphire, and what's that gonna do? Like, what is a ring gonna do?
And it's like, are they kind of taking advantage of the tradition of the culture? And
they've kind of like morphed it into their own kind of beliefs, and
trying to get money.
So I honestly do not agree with. I do agree to an extent. Like, I like reading your horoscopes and things, but I don't take it. I think people do take it very, very seriously when you shouldn't. And I do think in India, with these astrologers and stuff like that, they like the fact that people
still believe in it.
Yeah, because it's a business for them at the end of the day. So but I think
it's something that can be quite harmless and quite interesting to read up on, but I don't think you should let it dictate your life.
Yeah. But yeah, that's literally our take on astrology and face reading. Yeah. So my take on the show was that it was entertaining. It highlighted issues that needed to be highlighted, and I think it kind of educated viewers in the sense, like, for those that don't really know what matchmaking is, the kind of culture and all of that. I think in terms of like Sima herself, do I think she was successful in it? Not really. Like, we found out that none of the couples stayed together. They didn't stay in touch or anything like that. I think maybe if she changes her approach, things might be different. Like, I do think she needs to move on from a lot of the things that she was doing, like in terms of the face reading, getting the astrologer in, talking about appearance so much. Like, if she moved forward from that, things might have been different. But that's just my opinion. I liked the show, but yeah.
I actually did get someone writing in about Sima herself, and they were saying that they think that she's quite backwards in her opinions, and that she's actually a bad representation of the Indian culture and arranged marriages, and this type of show actually helps to enforce those kind of stereotypes, and that she shouldn't really be given the platform that she was on such a national TV show.
Yeah, it was like a proper international scale.
Yeah. We did, to be fair, I got quite a lot of mixed responses. A lot of people actually really enjoyed it. A lot of people absolutely hated it.
I think it's
so backwards.
The response has been so controversial, like such a...
Like, oh yeah, it's easy to watch, yeah, it's funny, but then it's
also...
I
know there's some girls who love it, and they're like, it was so funny, and it was like literally like watching just another dating show, like a normal one, like, but other people have really looked into it.
It's something, if you don't analyse it, I think it would just brush past you, but once you're aware of the stereotypes and you actually watch it, you realise how bad some of the stuff that they talk about is.
Yeah.
Also, I have responses about Sima asking, what's Sima auntie's number? And sis, I feel you, but are you willing to pay $300 to $400
that's actually
for a 20-minute FaceTime call? And I don't even know if it's for the overall thing or whether it's per FaceTime call or anything like that. And I think that's
disgusting.
She is getting money from this. She's going to get even more now.
The thing is, none of them worked out, so she got paid
for nothing.
For what?
For absolutely nothing.
But I got a few responses in saying, going, Aparna was made out to be the villain, but the real villain was Sima.
Yeah.
I got another one going, Sima should have got Aparna and Akshay together and seen how Akshay's mom coped with that. I'm thinking, imagine Aparna's mom, like, imagine those moms.
I couldn't. That would be too much. That would either really get on or absolutely hate each other.
Yeah.
I also got one saying it was interesting to see the differences between Indian and Western countries, which I think was interesting as well.
Yeah, you did see like some differences between when Sima was in Mumbai and when she was in like America and the States and stuff.
And then also that it shows marriage is more than loving two people, that the family can actually have quite a big involvement.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. I got one talking about a lot of the stuff that we've kind of covered, like gender inequality, and how a lot of the terminology used was based on image and status and all of that. So I hope we've kind of covered a lot of what you kind of think as well. Like,
let us know your thoughts as well, because we are still very interested. Let us know if you disagree, agree with anything that we're saying.
I hope we haven't offended anyone with what we're saying,
that wasn't
but this is just our opinion.
We are judging them just off what we've seen off TV. We don't know them personally.
Oh God, of course not. Imagine we did. But our aim here is literally, when we're talking about topics like this, it is to carry on the conversation. So we want you to keep in touch with us, let us know what you think, and just continue talking about it. And I think, like, in the show there was an educational aspect depending on how you were watching. Like, if you were analysing it, if you were taking on like new information that you didn't know, then there is that educational aspect where you're learning. So just talk about what you've seen, what you've learnt from it, and so on. But that was our... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, and compare with other people in your family, their kind of thoughts, like different generations.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like if you come from a family who don't know anything about it, talk about it. Like, talk about it to your parents, your grandparents. Like, even I was speaking to my grandparents because they were like, is this what it's like now? And I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah, but that was our matchmaking episode. So we hope you've enjoyed the first topic. There were like a lot of you were really excited about it. So I hope we've like matched the standard you thought. We hope you have a good week and hear us in the next one. Bye.
Sima.